Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Non-Scripted Ramblings. I'm Kendall Richardson. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, I really appreciate every single one of you who tunes in and watches. It means the world to me, so thank you. And here we are today. I'm going to be talking about episode 3 of WandaVision, which is titled Now in Colour. Very appropriate, of course, because we've moved from our 60s sitcom now into our 70s sitcom style, full Brady Bunch mode, and it's very, very awesome. Just on the episode title, Now in Colour, I wanted to mention the fact that in my previous video, I think I mentioned that the episodes don't have titles. They were just known as episode 1, 2, and 3, etc. But it looks like since I filmed that, the titles have been updated to Disney Plus and to IMDb, so the titles of the first 2 episodes actually are episode 1 was filmed before a live studio audience, and episode 2 was called Don't Touch That Dial. So 2 phrases that are synonymous with television, especially early television, that's for sure. So very, very cool. Those are the names. Here we now have Now in Colour, and as I said, we're in full Brady Bunch mode. The house is completely done up to look like an homage to the Brady Bunch household from that show. The colours are very similar, just the way it's designed and set up is also very similar. It made me kind of realise that the house changed between episode 1 and 2 as well, except the change was, I think, a little bit more subtle then, but now I guess it's a lot more noticeable because it's in colour, and you know, we've kind of changed the layout of the lounge room and everything else. But yeah, it's really, really nice that the house is also evolving around Wanda and Vision and their world that they're in. So yeah, really, really cool. This was a lot of fun, the 70s stuff of this episode. My one drawback from this is probably the fact that it would have been great if this episode had been a bit longer, just so we could have spent more time in the 70s kind of world. Like for some reason the developments into, you know, what's really going on kind of took away from the 70s aspect a bit. Like in the first couple episodes, you really get kind of immersed and engaged with these 50s and 60s sitcom worlds that they're in, and I loved it. I really did, even though part of me was like, you know, I wish we knew more. We have no idea what's going on, and they're really teasing it out. But here now we're actually getting a lot more in this episode, and here I am complaining that I want more 70s. So I've kind of, it's weird. I don't know, it's weird, but like this episode was really, really good though, despite that. I don't know, that the intro to this episode was so fun. Like I loved the theme music, the theme song, and the montage of them in different, you know, different 70s style outfits, doing very wholesome kind of things, and baby shopping, and riding bikes and setting up swings and swinging, and just, yeah, it was very nicely done, very, very cute and adorable to watch, and yeah, kind of had me pumped for a you know, 70s shenanigans going on, but it was kind of all revolving around the pregnancy, which, you know, is fine, makes sense. It's pushing this story forward, so it's really just a minor nitpick if I ever have one. That's probably it. But no, I really enjoyed that, and I also like, before I get into the heavy stuff of what really happened in this episode, I just want to get the sitcom stuff out of the way first. I really like the kind of trope of, you know, when your main character like is trying to hide something from a supporting character, like we see Wanda trying to conceal everything that's going on while Geraldine's come over to visit. I love, you know, trying to hide the pregnancy with the different coats. I loved like her holding the bowl of fruit, and then the stork arriving and her trying to, that was really, really funny, really well done. Elizabeth Olsen's comedic timing was quite well done in that sequence. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, just, and I even loved the, there were some really good jokes in this episode with some dad jokes. I mean, that one Vision made where he says, "I can't wait to be a proud papaya." That that had me laughing quite a bit. I thought that was very funny, very lame, but you know, it's a dad joke, and it's funny coming from Vision because, you know, he's not entirely human, obviously, so he's kind of detachment from what, you know, good humor is, I guess, is, you know, so he's attempting, and I thought it was funny. I liked it. And I also liked the quick cut to Dottie and her husband, and and her saying, "Do these earrings make me look fat?" And the power cuts off, and then he's just relieved. He's like, "Oh, thank God, now I don't have to, you know, I can't see my wife, so I can't answer that question." I thought that was very, very funny. Very well done. Yeah, really interesting to see the way this pregnancy was affecting Wanda's powers, and she was losing control of her immediate abilities, and you know, little things like turning the wind chime thing, like what is it called? The baby mobile with the butterflies on it. You know, turning them into real butterflies, like that was really cute, and then of course the stork and the kitchen going completely on the fritz. That was kind of funny as well, their reactions to that, and just the fact that it was, you know, affecting their neighbours, their surroundings too, and the whole rain from the ceiling when her water broke was, that was funny. I think jokes like that have been made before. I think like similar. I don't know. I feel like I've seen that somewhere before, but don't care. It's fine. It was executed very well here. Another interesting thing about the 70s stuff is the fact that not only is the house changed, but the neighborhood's changed, because I guess this episode is really just the WandaVision residents, you know, in isolation. You don't get to expand into Greater Westview in this episode as we did with the last episode, or the episode before that. So I guess maybe it makes sense as to why when you walk, you know, you see them outside, we're not on that big sprawling neighborhood street anymore. We're on a confined set with backdrops on either side. So that was interesting, and that kind of, you know, added to the 70s sitcom aspect of it, that's for sure. What else can I mention before I move on to the meat? I think I'm up to the meat, to be honest. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about the sitcom stuff, because this episode was so great in terms of giving us more. Like, yeah, we still don't know what's going on, but we're really now starting to kind of grasp it a bit better, especially after this. My goodness, can I just... okay, well, I gotta start with the first thing that I really loved, and that was really effective, and that was the Vision, like, cut, edit, rewind thing. Like, that was super well done. Like, I genuinely thought that maybe my internet fritzed, or my Disney Plus, you know, something went wrong, because it just kind of quickly jutted backwards. And it wasn't like the rewind of the previous episode when Wanda was like no to the beekeeper, and then we got to see a VHS style rewind. Whereas this, it was just like a kind of a jarring cut back to moments before. But that was great. That was great. I mean, it was probably Wanda that did it, just judging on how we've seen her acting so far, but part of me thinks maybe it wasn't, just because the previous times when Wanda is, you know, gone to change something she doesn't like, you've seen it on her face, or you've heard it in the dialogue she said, and here she was just kind of staring curiously at Vision, like not, like, I don't know, not really fully acknowledging what was being said. So part of me makes me think that maybe someone else had something to do with that. I don't know, could be wrong, but regardless, it was very well executed, and also great to see Paul Bettany go from being this bumbly, you know, husband who's freaking out because his wife's immediately pregnant and about to give birth, to straight into being Vision. Like, that was the first proper time, probably in this entire show, that we've seen Vision be Vision. Like, for a second, you know, he realized, he was putting two and two together, realizing all the little subtle things that have been going on that are just not right, and he was questioning that, and then either Wanda or whoever is in charge of this whole shindig is just like, no, we're going to try that again, take two, and then, yeah, they go into talking about the kids, or kid, they think, at that point. But that was brilliant. That was brilliant. Also brilliant was just the way Elizabeth Olsen just orchestrated that turn in Wanda from sitcom Wanda to real Wanda, knowing what's going on Wanda, creepy as hell Wanda. You know, just I loved the fact that we got this beautiful callback to Age of Ultron, Pietro getting mentioned. That was really, really nice. Just to kind of see her acknowledging him, because she hasn't for so long in the MCU, so that was really beautiful. But then for Geraldine, or should I say Monica, to just then snap out of it for a moment herself and go, wait, he was killed by Ultron, wasn't he? Like, what's, you know, something else is going on here, something is afoot, like, and she was beginning to maybe, I don't know, realize or unravel that, and Wanda started then questioning her, and then went from, you know, being bubbly new mum to just, oof, yeah, just I commend Elizabeth Olsen quite a bit for her performance in this episode, especially. Like, she's been consistent throughout everything she's ever done, but I've been kind of hyping up Paul Bettany previously. Like, he was, in episode 2 especially, he was magnificent. But here, it's Elizabeth's turn to shine, and she's just killing it. And I freaking loved it. It was so well done. So well done. And yeah, she kicks Geraldine out. So that scene from the trailer where we saw her get ejected and land in that field, like, now we've seen it in the show. So yeah, and then, oh man, it's so good. It's so good. One of my favorite moments of this entire episode was literally the moment where, and I got chills again watching it the second time, the moment Vision walks back in and says, "Where's Geraldine?" and Wanda's like, "Oh, she had to go home," you know, in just such a creepy way, because, you know, he can't see her face and her expression is not matching the tone of what she's saying, but yet it's still very sinister. Like, that was so good. And then the fact that the aspect ratio changed from the letterbox, like, you know, old school format to the widescreen so subtly, like, God, that was good. That was so good, because, yeah, that's the moment we've gone from the sitcom to the real world, and that's our separation, and the fact that they've used the aspect ratio to like further emphasize that change. Like, now you're in the real world, you're not in the sitcom world anymore, you're in the real world. Like, that was so good. It was so good. I loved it so much. I was so pleased. Very, very good. Yeah. Also good to see kind of glimmers of the real Agnes and Herb, I think, coming through. Like, Herb was quite creepy in this episode, especially when he was cutting through the fence and smiling at Vision. That was creepy. I really liked that. But then when Agnes and Herb were talking and Vision was like, "What's going on?" and she was like, "Is Geraldine inside?" And they started telling him that apparently she has no family or no home, like. And they started alluding to, you know, something's not right, especially Herb saying she's here because we're all, and then, you know, Agnes wouldn't let him answer for some reason. So, I don't know, but that was so weird. Like, they got through that much, and then Agnes snaps back into her, you know, macrame housewife. You know, has to cycle back to her husband. You know. That was, yeah, but that was really, I don't know, it was really cool. It was really well done. Yeah, and then I suppose the other big thing two other big things to talk about before I wrap up this episode. The first being the ad that we saw for a soap called Hydra Soak. We see a mum who's like frantically busting her ass off in the kitchen, and everything's going haywire, and just calamity after calamity, and and she just, you know, needs a break from it all, and then she ends up in this bathtub with this soap, and it's all, you know, what's the line? I wrote it down. When you want to get away without going anywhere, escape to a world all your own. sound familiar to what we're watching. And yeah, and then there's the tagline is for the goddess within, which I don't know how that really connects to Wanda per se, but the other stuff obviously is referencing the fact that Wanda's in this, you know, made up world of her own making, it seems, at least. I mean, yeah, I still have my doubts, but I'm confident that it's Wanda that's in control of this thing. But the really cool thing about this ad is just out of the blue, it's a reference to Agents of S.h.i.e.L.D. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there was an episode a few seasons ago, a really great storyline they did set in this basically made up world, virtual world called The Framework. And there's a scene where Phil Coulson in The Framework is talking about a bar of blue soap that Hydra use and put chemicals in to manipulate you and mind control you and alter your memories. So, you know, the fact that this has come up now, and that is, it's got to be a direct reference. It's got to be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, if you ask me. So I thought that was super cool to see S.h.i.e.L.D. being referenced in the most obscure way to ever be referenced in the MCU. Like, yeah, it's great. It was really, really cool. But yes, I think before I finish, the big thing to take away from this episode, of course, is the arrival of the twins, Tommy and Billy. So yeah, for those who don't know, in the comics, Wanda does have kids with Vision. They're children created from her powers, and she created them also using like life fragments of the demon Mephisto, who is a big MCU villain, and based on everything I've kind of read and taken away from this episode, I feel like we're building up to a Mephisto reveal now, because he's kind of tied in heavily to the twins storyline in the comics, and to Wanda, and to Agatha Harkness, who we seem to think Agnes is, and also Doctor Strange. And what they have been saying for a while now is that WandaVision and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness are connected. And this kind of, I think, is leading towards that connection and this introduction of a new villain, Mephisto. So there's also a theory I read online that Agnes's husband Ralph is actually Mephisto, because in episode 2 there was a line Dottie said talking about the devil's in the details, and then Agnes whispers that's not all he's in. And she also makes an offhand remark about wanting to, I don't know, wanting to control Ralph, or wanting to subdue him or lock him away or something. But so I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's kind of grasping at straws a bit, maybe. I don't know. But it would explain why that she has a husband that we're not seeing or haven't met, I guess. I don't know. What do you guys think? Comment below, let me know. But yeah, I think this is what this is building up to. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's got to be some kind of connection. I mean, Wanda's in control, but you know, we have been wondering if it's completely her that's in control, or is someone else influencing her. And you know, some people have speculated that it's Agnes, aka Agatha. But you know, I think it might be Mephisto somehow, who's the grand mastermind of this whole thing, and I guess he's doing it to get the twins, because in the comics he ends up reabsorbing those parts of him that are in the twins, killing them, which devastates Wanda, and Agatha then in the comics erases her memory of them so she can, you know, move on with her life, which is pretty horrible when you really think about it. So yeah, I don't know. Connections, things are heading in an interesting direction. I don't know. This is really cool. I like this. Mephisto's also linked to a bunch of other comic book characters like Thor and the Fantastic Four, in most specifically the Silver Surfer. So now obviously we know that the Fantastic Four is happening in the MCU. Maybe Mephisto's going to be connected there. Who knows? We'll find out. But I think that might do it for me for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you agreed or disagreed with anything I said, comment below, let me know. Like, share, and subscribe to FREDtheAILEN Productions here so you can catch more of my reviews and analysis and discussion on WandaVision. We're 3 episodes in, guys, and we've got 6 more to go. Can't wait to get through it. It's getting into the meaty part of it now, guys. We're getting into the nitty-gritty. The things are going to be coming to light. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Alright, thanks so much, guys. I've been Kendall Richardson, and you've just experienced non-scripted ramblings.